On today's episode of An Echo of Glory, we finally have a defeat to talk about. We look ahead to Wolves, and there's some news on the doughnut. Welcome to another episode of An Echo of Glory. Joining me as always, Gary Diamond.
Hello.
Hello. And welcome back to, I think, legacy number 13, Ali Tweedale from... I made it up. No, I kind of calculated it. We will confirm it. Statistically, we will get it correct. Ali Tweedale.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Good to have a legacy number at all, but 13 actually used to be my shirt number that I used to wear for my team. I was not. I just was converted to a right back and just thought it was too depressing to wear number 2. So chose to wear 13.
You can take 13 from us as well.
You can, even if it's not 13, we're now going to give you 13.
Thank you. Yeah,
so
I'd like that.
You can fiddle about with
I'd
it.
like that a lot.
So this is a unique pod for this season because we record on the back of a defeat. Forget Fulham, we know that wasn't a defeat. So I woke up this morning with that sort of morning after the night before feeling. I woke up and was like, sunny day, nice, lying in bed, look out the window, and then it hit me. Last night just hit me and I was in a mood for the next half an hour. So I was wondering, what is your worst morning after the night before defeat?
I thought you were going to ask something else there.
This is a family show.
It is.
That moment when you wake up in the morning and that's that 2 seconds where you go, oh, right, oh, God. What's the worst one of those you've had as a Spurs fan?
I think one of the lowest points for me, and it was twofold, was when we went out to Dynamo Zagreb and played a team that didn't have the manager, just been sent to jail, 2-0 up after the first leg, and we lost 3-0. And aside from the fact that it was just a demoralising, humiliating defeat, I knew it was going to happen. And I knew it was going to happen because the game was March the 18th, which was the eve of my 40th birthday. So I knew that Tottenham would balls up my birthday.
Especially in that era as well.
So I woke up on my morning of my 40th birthday, and I don't, whatever, but I woke up on the morning of my 40th birthday angry at Tottenham.
You've been angry at Tottenham a lot.
I'm just angry.
Ali?
I was really angry this season about the Fulham game.
The draw.
Yeah, just the draw. Yes, the penalty shootout.
That couldn't have been the angriest.
No. That just sprung to mind. But I think the angriest the kind of like that morning realisation feeling that the worst I've ever had was after a game that didn't involve Tottenham but had huge effects on Tottenham.
The same as me.
The Champions League final in 2012.
Yeah.
I just felt like I remember sitting in the pub after that game just thinking how much this is going to affect us for years and years because we'd missed this chance to get into the Champions League, and Gareth Bale was going, and it was just all going to he didn't go that summer, but he was going, he was not going to stick around then, and the next morning I was just like, was never going to get over that.
It was the way it happened as well because Bayern were at home.
Yeah.
Didn't they get a penalty and miss it?
Robin against his former club. And Messi had missed a penalty against Chelsea, by the way, in the semi-final that would have
hit
knocked
the bar?
them out. No, I think it just got saved. It was a weak penalty and it just got saved. And you just sort of looked at it, you're like, if it had been any other team but Tottenham that it would have really screwed over, then it just wouldn't have happened. Messi would have scored his penalty or Robin would have scored it. But because it was Tottenham, you just knew. A bit like last night, everything just...
It all came together.
The universe comes together to go... Nah, not you lot.
That was my thought. I was trying to think of a game that we actually played in that I woke up the next day and felt really, really depressed. The Newcastle 5-1 last season.
Oh, yeah.
Was it 6-1?
Was it 6?
Was it 7?
I lost count.
Yeah. Well, what was the score after 20 minutes? 5-0?
5. Do you know what?
Did we score? Is it 5?
Yeah, Kane scored. Kane scored in the second half. Scored a brilliant.
Deleted this from my memory.
Yeah,
I remember saying to my son, because we were on we lost 6-1. We just lost 3-2 home to Bournemouth, which was awful.
Yeah. And
I said to my son, he said, "We're going to watch the game," and I said, "No, I'm not going to watch the game because I know we're going to be 3-0 down at half time. I don't want to watch it."
How wrong you were.
How wrong I was. It was 5 after 20 minutes. 3 after 9. So that for me was that was the one I think in recent times. But yeah, Bayern ballsing up the Champions League and Chelsea winning it. Yeah, right. Okay. Bit of club news, as we always like to do. We'll start with the women's team. Drew 1-1 at home to Everton, which is an all right result. They actually battered them for the most part. Everton scored late on, but it's again I've seen the highlights. They played well. I think they're a bit disappointed that they didn't win.
Yeah, it's been a really positive start for the women. Complete reversal from last season, which was a disaster. And again, it's going pretty well.
Talking of letting in 5 in the first half, the under-18s at home to Palace, 5-2.
It's a weird game, and I think we went 2-0 down and pulled it back to 2-2. And when we pulled it back to 2-2, with the form that the under-18s have been in, I was keeping track of the score. I was thinking to myself, they're going to win it now.
Yeah.
I came back to it like half an hour later, and we got pumped 5-2. I don't know what happened. I mean, they obviously scored 3 more goals, so I do know what happened. But I mean, I just really backed the under-18s to get back into it, or go on to win it, having got back to 2-2. So it's a bit of a weird one.
They've had a good week, the Palace youth. I think they're under 21's got 7, or they had 7 at one point. I didn't see the final score. But then under 21's won 4-3 at Norwich to continue their 100% record to the start of the season. So a mixed bag, but can't win them all every week.
And we went out the trophy.
No, they lost to Peterborough. That's a group stage. They're playing Cambridge tonight, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The under 21 teams rarely go through in that, do they, Ali? I think Ali's shaking his head. I've thrown him at yet another curveball like I've done in the past. But the under 21 sides rarely go through. I think Chelsea may have got to the quarters or semis of that once, but
no, they're playing men. They're playing.
Yeah.
So it's a good experience. But just as club news, they did lose. But
any other club news?
No club news as such. But going back to the fact that this is a family show, and we try to keep it that way, and I will do my best to keep it that way, even with what I know is coming up after last night. We have been made aware of some young fans that listen to us and really enjoy the show, so we love that. So a couple of shout outs to them. We have been asked by Ollie to do a shout out to Dominic, aged 8, and Sylvie, aged 3. Their favourite choice of bedtime story is Mr. Johnny Blaine, and his dulcet tones.
How nice! Is that because I sent them to sleep?
Yeah, probably. And my daughter keeps telling me about a good friend of hers at school who is an avid listener of the show and keeps telling her how much he enjoys it. And so shout out to my daughter's friend Aidan.
Family show.
How nice is that?
Family show. No swearing today. Let's see if we can do it, because we're going to come to the main
kids,
event.
I'm really sorry.
It's time to go to bed, kids. Lights
Stop
out.
listening now.
Lights out. Okay. Line up. We've managed to get all 11 players, which is ironic because we didn't need all 11. Because last week we left Son off.
Don't joke about that. Come on. That's a bit morbid.
So the team, Vicario in goal. Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie passed his fitness test. Sarr, Bissouma in front. Kulusevski, Madison, Johnson starting, and Son up front. Ali, any surprises there?
Well, the fear was that Udogie wasn't going to be fit, and then when he was, it was just
a bit of a disaster.
Well, it was. My thought was that's the perfect team. I've got no concerns about this game now.
That's our best team.
I agree.
Probably you could argue Bentancur for
Sarr.
I thought I had a very good game actually, but and
Brennan Johnson's still got to prove. Like I think right now he's better than right now he's a better option than Richarlison.
Yes.
So I was really happy with that team, and I felt really confident going into the game.
Yep.
Not only confident going into the game, confident in the first 15 minutes. We go 1-0 up, but it's still been given to Kulusevski. I've actually not seen a replay of the goal.
I thought I have seen a replay, and I'm certain it was going wide.
Oh, really?
But
who did
it's
it
been
hit?
given
Enzo?
No, Levi Colwill.
Yeah.
Off his hand by any
No,
chance?
he turned his back on.
So it wouldn't have been handball. From where I was sat, it looked handball. Okay.
No, yeah. But yeah, it's been given to Kulusevski.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Say 25 minutes, really.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it was
sensational.
Absolutely mind-blowingly good. How good that performance was. It was sensational. Chelsea could not live with us in those first 20-25 minutes.
No.
And you could really see that they couldn't live with us. And the team knew they couldn't live with us because they just wanted to go at them again and again and again. And the first goal was brilliant. Lovely ball from Madison to open up the whole pitch. And we tore through them. I actually thought Kulusevski's finish was a bit weak.
Yeah, it was rubbish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't the best. But
he hasn't done that. You know what he did in that first half season when he cut in and put them in the top corner? He hasn't really done that in a while. Yeah,
you think of Norwich away.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he hasn't done that, and it was a weak finish. But it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, when you're getting into the box and stuff happens, right? And we were
you make your own luck.
Correct. And we were ripping through them, and Chelsea just couldn't live with us. And I think the team smelt blood. I really do. I think they smelt blood, and they wanted to go after it really aggressively and stuff them. And that may have ultimately been our undoing, really.
Yeah, there was a kind of there was a kind of relentlessness to what Tottenham were doing, and that was obviously the game plan. If you're on top, keep doing what you're doing, keep your foot on their neck, kind of keep going at them. And things just started to get a bit rushed when it was kind of like, we are always doing that, not when it's the right time to do it. We are always doing it. We are always going to take things quickly, rush things.
I don't mind it so much, because with a bit more control mentally, the way we were playing, I mean, it was breathtaking, and it was absolutely sensational. And that second goal that Son was offside by a toenail, if that goes in, never mind the outcome of the game. I mean, I think that would have just completely killed Chelsea off, and it would have been a very different game, and I think we would have gone on to win 3 or 4. But more important than that, if that goes in, I genuinely think it's one of the best goals I've ever seen. As I remember, I've only seen it once, and I saw it live there. The football for that second goal was just out of this world. The pace, how we cut through them, it was vicious football. That's what I'd call it. It was vicious football.
Yeah.
And if I just wish that goal had been given. I wish Sonny had just been onside, because it would have been one of the most glorious goals I think I would have ever seen.
Obviously, my deep Spurs pessimism not only sees it as a sliding doors moment for last night, I'm like, that's a sliding doors moment for the entire season. Obviously, that's a little bit over the top.
It's not really. I mean, you think of Aurier away versus Leicester, 2-0, not given. They're going to beat us 2-1, and we fall apart for the rest of the season. You think of Jermaine Defoe in the year that we were chasing the league, and he had a great chance that came across. It misses his studs by a fraction against City away.
Are we going for the league or top four? Top four.
I feel like it was the league, but then we've dropped off to top four. But if we had beaten City that day, and then what happened was Balotelli trod on I thought it was Modric.
Modric, yes.
Trod on Modric, and that. But if
no, it was Scott Parker.
Was it?
Scott Parker in the head? Yeah, he stumped in his head.
You're right. It was Scott Parker. But again, unless I'm getting myself confused, there was that moment from Defoe, which again was a sliding doors moment.
Euro,
I think of Gaza. Yeah, it was very similar to that. And I think of another sliding doors moment was 0-0 against Leicester at home in the season they won the league. Harry Kane went through, Schmeichel. And it comes off Schmeichel's arse as he's diving, bounces down, and hits the bloody bar.
Yeah.
And if we go 1-0 up, who knows? I'm not saying we would have gone on to win the league, but we've just beaten the eventual champions at home when they were not clear. There's so many sliding doors moments. So you don't know. Like, hopefully this isn't one of them. Hopefully we do bounce back. But it's happened to us enough, hasn't it?
So what I'm going to do, like I always do at this point, is remind everybody that we're going to use some nice images in today's show. Go to our YouTube channel. If you're on Spotify, open it, watch the video, like and subscribe. But there was so much happened in this game. I need a timeline to help me out. And someone's done this.
Strap in, lads. We're going through it.
Well, we'll go through most of it. What we will go through is Kulusevski. We've done 6 minutes. The Son goal, 14 minutes. 4 minutes later, we get a corner. And I think it was a corner, and they cleared it. We were so high at this point. High in terms of a team.
Family show.
Udogie brings down Sterling. If Sterling had nicked past him, he was away. They were almost away 10 yards inside their own half. It was ridiculous how high we played from that corner. I've seen it once. I've seen it live, and I've seen it once on a replay. He's a little bit lucky to stay on the pitch.
100%. Yeah. He's lucky that it was to a player like Sterling who...
Yeah, if you look at this image here, he's nowhere near the ball here. And he's off the ground.
Well, it's more the fact that he's got 2 feet up in the air, studs up. It's lucky that Sterling saw him coming, and it's also very lucky that Sterling wasn't trying to make more of it. And there were lots of players who would have
get straight up, didn't he?
He did get straight up. I don't think that's the kind of that's not really his game to do that. And I think Udogie was lucky there. Yeah. I mean, I would be fuming if someone did that to me.
That's a red card.
Yeah, it is a red card.
No argument, it's a red card. And actually, it's poor from VAR, if I'm honest.
It's also just completely idiotic.
Yeah, it wasn't needed.
It was like a situation that could have developed into something
block
dangerous.
him.
But
Just block him.
Block him. Or Udogie's so good one-on-one defending. Like, back yourself to like stand him up and then just shepherd him back or something like that. He's really, really good in those situations. It was just madness.
But this is what I was alluding to earlier. The mentality of the team, they smelt blood and they were aggressive and just overly aggressive. And this perhaps is a learning curve for them. To rein it in, they can play that chaotic, hectic 100 miles per hour football, but it has to have cool heads with it, and you have to make the right decisions. And Udogie is young. Retrospectively, I wish he had have been sent off there because I think we could have beaten them with 10 men. And had he have been sent off, I just wonder if it would have been a call to the rest of the players to calm down. But that's where, even though he wasn't sent off, perhaps we got away with one, and that's where we needed a calmer head on the pitch. Where was the leadership?
Yeah.
I think we're going to get onto this, but looking at that timeline at 41 minutes, Postecoglou getting booked kind of shows that I think even the calm leader, like everyone's heads had gone. Postecoglou is normally
what did he get booked for?
I don't know, but he
got
must have said something to the fourth official.
Again, I've got to remember, this timeline's really useful because it makes, when you're there, you're in the moment, you can't really remember. So at that point, we were down to 10 because Romero had gone. At that point, they were playing a lot of balls over the top, and we were trying to catch them offside. They played one through, and Sterling was offside, and Vicario came out, and he had to then kick the ball because Sterling sort of impacted Vicario, and he kicked it straight to a Chelsea player, a little bit further up the pitch. But Postecoglou was fuming because Sterling made Vicario play the ball, basically, and he was fuming that they should have just given a free kick, and it would have been a set piece.
I remember that, yeah. And he should have given a free kick. Michael Oliver absolutely should have given a free kick.
Yeah.
He was right, Postecoglou. And by the way, we'll come on to Michael Oliver, I'm sure.
Yes. 21 minutes, well, straight away. 21 minutes, Sterling goal handball. I assume there were 63,000 in there last night. 63,000 people knew that was handball.
Yeah.
I don't know why Sterling
even the way he didn't celebrate.
Oh, did he not?
No, he kind of ran away like that.
Yeah, he did. Half-hearted,
he didn't,
wasn't it?
Yeah, he knew. He knew.
Sterling knew. Yeah. The players knew. Every fan knew.
Well, no, Nicholas Jackson didn't know because he was giving it that, wasn't he?
I'm not sure Nicholas Jackson knows much about anything, so he's not important.
Bloke walks away with a match ball. And
he just can't even get on to it. But in real time, as a referee, to not see that handball, which is very blatant, is poor from Michael Oliver. And
is it concerned that they're just letting VAR ref these games?
Yeah. I think it's a real problem at the moment because refs are more reluctant to give things because they can just rely on VAR. So that Udogie one, he would have given a yellow, thinking, well, I think it's a yellow, maybe it's an orange card, but I'm going to leave this to VAR. And then VAR are like, well, I'm not going to overrule that. Yeah, so it's just, I think it's a mess.
But on this one, right, I seem to remember in the stadium, I thought the only issue with this goal was the handball. But VAR I remember thinking it's taken a long, long time. And I'm thinking maybe it wasn't as clear a handball as
wasn't that?
I feel like they were checking
offside. No, that was the same move they were checking because Romero had kicked out. What we haven't got on that timeline is Romero not getting sent off for kicking out at Levi Cole.
They were checking that at the same time as the goal.
And then the players needed treatment as well.
So in between the 18th minute yellow card and the 21st minute, Sterling ruled out. At some point, I think, or certainly between the 14th and the 21st, Romero goes on a escapade and pushes Thiago Silva over for no reason. He then ends up in a fight with Levi Colwill and kicks him, should have got sent off. Then they have the goal ruled out, fine. And it's this point, and I'm just looking through my phone here. A lot of on the Spurs group is very active during games. We need to calm down. This a lot of swearing. This isn't football. We need to calm down. We need to sort this out. We're inviting the pressure. Someone else. We need to calm down. So we're sat in the stands, and you guys are probably the same, going, we need to calm down. Yeah. And I know this whole risk and reward, and Vicario's, every time we get a goal kick, Vicario's frantically putting it down and playing quickly because that's the way we play. Is that the right game management?
I don't think so. I think if you're going to take a goal kick quickly, it's because you think that the opposition are disorganised at the other end of the pitch. So you need to get the ball. I could see when he was taking it, I could see that maybe like Colwill wasn't in position. So there's some space higher up the pitch. So if you take a quick goal kick, the opposition are going to have walked to the edge of the box, and then they'll just turn around and come and press you. So the part of the pitch where where you might get an advantage by taking it quickly isn't there's nothing happening there. You're inviting the pressure into the exact zone you don't want it.
And that's what happened a few times.
But when it works, it's good. But I think there are times where it just needed a bit of like just common sense.
There was a point where just before this where we could have gone long and we faffed about. And that's when I went, we've just got to calm down.
I think, look, we are a young team, okay? And I really think that maybe we even surprised ourselves last night with how well we were playing the first 15, 20 minutes. And I've said it already a couple of times. I think they literally smelt blood and they realised if we keep on, we could murder this Chelsea team. And I think they just went for it. And this is a very young Spurs team. And I don't want to use that too much for an excuse because I know obviously, that lot down the road refer to that all the time. Well, that's such a young team. But this is a young team. This is a huge evolution from where we were.
Jack Santini used to talk about us having a young team. Didn't work for him.
But I think
they're also young in their development together.
That's what I'm saying. Everything about this is inexperience. And it showed last night. You've got a young team going, whoa, we're going to absolutely batter these. Let's keep going. Yeah. But I think like in another season or two, they'll batter a team, but they'll also have the wherewithal and the maturity to not go the other way like they did last night. I'm not trying to excuse them, but I just think they smelt an opportunity to really kill Chelsea and they just went for it a bit too much. That's what I think.
I just think... I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I just think someone like Romero really, really... What he did really pissed me off. Sorry, kids. Well,
let's look at it.
I just couldn't believe, even before this, so you talked about that when he went charging up the pitch and the whole stadium was loving it. We're thinking, God, he's an absolute maverick, this guy. We love him. He's like no other centre-back. He was pressing the opposition goalie, like charging up the pitch, roared on by 60,000 people. And then he got into that little scuffle with Thiago Silva. And it's just like, come on, like you should go charging up the pitch, but don't think like, oh, these guys want me to fly in and punch people. Like, he should be mature enough to be like, right, now I've got to go back and defend like a normal human being.
Yeah, and this is a World Cup winner.
You don't see Virgil van Dijk doing stuff like this.
But I don't have any problems with how he played, with how he pressed up. I don't have any problems with any of that. What this is all, I think, the result of is that he was fouled at the other end of the pitch, and it was a clear foul.
When?
Just before, about a minute or two before all of this,
by Thiago Silva.
I can't remember who it was,
but
is that when he got into the? Is that when he got into the scuffle?
And he was fouled, and Oliver doesn't give it right, and I think from there. He just lost his head.
It's no excuse.
It's not an excuse. No, I'm not making an excuse. I'm not excusing the guy, right? He needs to be more mature than that. And I said straight away when I started talking, he was bearing a grudge because he had been fouled. It was a clear foul. And then he just carried it through.
Livid with him.
Livid. That's Fernandes, who is his World Cup winning teammate, and he's done that to him in the box.
On our screens, YouTube, Spotify, make it bigger.
It makes me really, really angry, and like he's had so many chances, and I was going to say I normally come on this show with stats, and I think this match was so beyond. You can't really use stats to analyse this game, but one stat I do have that came out of it is since he made his Tottenham debut, Romero has picked up more red cards, 4, than any other player for a Premier League team in all competitions, while also only 3 players who have all conceded 5 have conceded more penalties than him, which is 4. So he's got 4 red cards and conceded 4 penalties in two and a bit seasons, and he's missed a chunk of those through injury each year. And like, how many chances is he going to get? Like, when's this maturity going to come?
I thought it happened the first 10 games of the season.
Exactly. Everyone was banging on about how he hadn't given a foul away all season, and it's like, oh, now he's finally matured. But it's just, you just can't do that.
No, but look, before anybody sort of, I think, gets the wrong idea or impression, yes, he deserves to be absolutely castigated for what he's done there, and he deserves a 3-game punishment. And the result that ensued has got to sit largely on his shoulders. With all of that said, he is a top-class defender.
He doesn't need to do this
I'm
nonsense.
delighted that we've got him.
Yeah.
I would not change him for just about anybody. So, I don't want people going, "Oh, I can't believe you're on Dier Romero." It's like you don't want. Yes, we do want him, but every player you're allowed to criticise. And here he was wrong, and he cost us.
Well, you know what? I think we've already needed a backup centre-back better than Eric Dier or Ashley Phillips. But I think this is now a sign that we need one who's going to push Romero, and so you've got some pressure on them, and you're saying to them, look, if you piss about, sorry, I'm going to stop using that word, doing stuff like this, then you're not going to be playing.
Yeah, I think I don't know that we'd get that defender in January, but I do think that in January we absolutely need another centre back. We all know that, but in the summer we should, if we are going to be a serious team that's going to push for the top, we need a top-class defender that can push Romero and Van de Ven, and whoever it is that we get in January sort of becomes the fourth centre-back, which we'll need anyway, because hopefully we'll be in Europe.
I don't want to do this, but I'm going to. I'm going to mention a player that plays for that lot down the road. And someone mentioned this on Twitter last night. I thought it was a really good point. There's been this whole Saliba or Spurs fans who are Saliba or Romero. I think they're both top players. I think Saliba's an excellent player. What he doesn't do is let his team down like that. Okay,
He's reliable.
4 yellow cards last season, all in the space of 6 games early on. He hasn't been booked since about September last season in the league. Romero's had 12 yellows and 2 reds since. They're probably not. Romero might be better than Saliba, but Saliba ain't going to let you down. And you look at the players that Guardiola signs, it's fallen off the wagon a little bit this season with their discipline. Someone talked about, I can't remember who it was, them signing a really good midfielder. I'm bringing up a point here and I can't complete it. I can't remember who the player was. But the argument was he's too ill-disciplined. You can't have players where you know you're going to lose them for 3, 4, 5 games a season. And at the moment, this is what's happening with this bloke.
Yeah. Look, it's something that he knew. The short is, it's something he needs to sort out. We know this, but it's the first time this season that he's really let us down. And again, we can only hope that he learns from it. That's all there is to say, really. Yeah.
Really annoyed. I might have been Douglas Luiz. I can't remember who the player was that he wasn't disciplined enough. Anyway, we move on back to the timeline. So we kind of jump forward to the Romero red card.
Yeah, apologies.
It came on
that.
No, but it's relevant. It came on the 5 minutes after the Caicedo goal, but it's all in the same thing because Caicedo scores a goal which is ruled out because Jackson's offside, but rightly they go back and they look at the Romero red/penalty and they give it. And
just look at the timing of that, right? The Caicedo goal, which is all a part of that, was in the 28th minute, right? The ball isn't then kicked again until the penalty.
Yeah,
which is scored in the 37 minutes to sort all of that out. And you start thinking about the injury to Van de Ven.
I don't know about
and the stop starts. But even so, whether that had something to do with it or not, 7 minutes to sort that out is not good enough for VAR.
And I think for a lot of neutrals, the theatre of it was that they enjoyed that. That was quite entertaining, but for match-going fans in the stadium,
I'm not sure that
it was just insane. We had no idea what was going on.
We didn't have a clue what was going on. We stood there for 7 minutes, not having a clue. And I'm not even sure that for people at home watching, they would have enjoyed those.
I don't know. I thought the Newcastle Arsenal thing was amazing theatre.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going from one. It's amazing how these have happened in the same weekend. You've got decision 1, okay. Decision 2, okay. Decision 3, okay. It's all it's comedy more than theatre. It's comedic theatre, but. People have asked if, I think you asked it on Twitter/X this morning, would Romero have been sent off if Caicedo's goal had just stood? Yes, they could have sent him off. I don't know whether they would have just swept it under the carpet.
Yeah, so I think officially so they would have had a goal and obviously no penalty, but he could have been sent off for violent conduct. I suppose it's the same as if he just punched someone off the ball.
Which he probably will do it.
Yeah. Might have done, just completely missed it. But I do wonder if the VAR might have just been sort of like,
enough.
I've got so much on. I've on my plate. finally dealt with this. They've got the goal. Let's just leave the... I mean, Romero gets away with quite a lot, doesn't he, to be honest? The Cucurella hair pull at Stamford Bridge all those years ago. So.
What also then happens, obviously Johnson comes off, Dier comes on.
Johnson had been roasting James.
Yeah,
by the
really
way.
sad for Johnson,
He
wasn't
had been absolutely roasting
Okay,
James.
so he'll get another time. He'll get another chance on.
Yeah.
Oh, what we didn't mention in club news is that Richarlison's now decided to go and have an operation. So it's another injury. So
He got fed up of you slagging him off.
Fine. As someone said on one of our WhatsApp groups, he might be preparing himself for a move in January. Get that operation done. Yeah, fine. See ya. Johnson did well. He'll probably get another. Well, he will get another chance on Saturday. Cole Palmer and Vicario nearly saves that penalty. I mean, we will definitely come to Vicario, so just hold your horses on there. By the way, Cole Palmer, I'm not sure why City let him go.
That's unbelievable.
my
God. What a
What
player.
he's a good player.
What a player he is.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre thing they let him go.
Postecoglou gets booked. We have 12 minutes of injury time in which Van der Veen gets injured. I didn't see the Van der Veen injury because Vicario boots the ball up the pitch and I'm following the ball and I hear an ooh and I'm like, oh, have Van der Veen and Vicario collided with each other? And then the guy next to me says, no, his hamstring's just pinged. Yeah. So he's out for God knows how long.
Yeah, see you in March. Whenever it is. I don't know.
Do you think that long?
No.
I think the rest of the year. I think the new year.
New year.
Hopefully so.
Literally, just
Well,
don't
no,
know. That's me. No medical expertise
No,
whatsoever.
they-
Don't know the severity of the injury. Making something up.
Yeah, they need to do the scan. And,
It's
and
kind of
see
how
it.
our medical department might work based on the number of times weeks they're out for. Maddison gets injured. There's a bit of a mixed bag of what's going on here. Someone said to me who does know their stuff that he had an ankle injury going into the game and that he got a kick. I thought he went down with no contact. He was hobbling around. I was watching him. He was trying to run. He was putting some pressure on it. At one point, he put his shirt over his head, which always to me is a sign of a player who knows he's injured. And just sort of given this sort of flaky comment, which is, he got a knock, so we took him off. Was it tactical? Was it not? Or was it a mixture of both?
I think the first thing to mention here is he got fouled 6 or 7 times by 6 or 7 different Chelsea players in that first half. And we can talk about VAR and the use of VAR as much as we want, and we can talk about the fact that VAR, for the most part, probably gets more right than wrong in the big decisions. But what is the point of getting the big decisions right if a referee is not going to arbitrate a game properly? And I mentioned, I think, last week on the pod that since the Liverpool game, Spurs had 45 to 50 fouls against them.
Guy next to you.
Yeah, I think it was 45 to 50 fouls against them following the Liverpool game without any booking until the 90th minute of the Palace game. Okay? And people will say repetitive fouling from an individual player will yield a yellow card. We saw it with Jota against Liverpool, and that was correct. But also repetitive fouling from a team that is stopping another team playing their football and breaking up the game in a cynical manner.
And it was quite clear
to go punished.
It was quite clear that I think that was tactical from Chelsea.
It was
different
absolutely
players
tactical.
fouling.
Different
him.
players. It has to go punished, and teams are doing it. Teams do it all the time. And I get a referee might say, "Oh, it's only a little foul, and it's only that player's first one." But it's like in basketball, a team gets punished if 5 players make fouls, the other team gets a free throw. I'm not saying that should be the same, but the point is, if the tactic of the team is to stop another team playing and break up the game and disrupt the flow of the game, then they should be punished for it, because that ain't football, okay? And if VAR is being brought in to make football proper, well then ref the games properly, because Maddison's gone off with an injury, having been kicked all over the park by a load of different players, and not one booking. And I was screaming at Michael Oliver from about 10 minutes because I could see what was going on. Yeah. They were going right through us, and I was screaming at him, just book one of them. Just book one of them, and it stops it.
Well, get to half-time, it's ignoring the red card, there's 4 yellows in this game, 2 for Spurs, 2 for Chelsea. They didn't have a player booked until Colwill pulled Sarr down when he was on the break, which was a very, very obvious yellow. And then Sarr and Jackson, I think, had a bit of a tete-a-tete, or it was the other way around.
I think it was the other way around.
Obvious bookings. These were...
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there comes a point where one of the players tactically fouling has to be the player that takes a yellow, which is a sign of...
And the ref needs to say to their captain, this has happened here, 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 and here. Don't care that it's Joe Bloggs that's finally getting the booking. Be warned, he's getting the booking now. But it happens again, I'll book the next guy again. If you stop them, cynically, from getting through or getting out, I'm going to book you.
It happens a lot more on the continent. There's a lot more cards because They try and stop this stuff, and referees will dish out cards. And I think last night Chelsea got away with it. Right, into the second half, Udogie gets sent off. I'd gone for a wee at this point, by the way.
Oh, you missed
yeah,
it.
I've missed a lot this season due to my bladder.
You missed a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed. Okay, sorry.
Family show.
Yeah, sorry.
Just such a rush of blood to the head.
Yeah.
So stupid. Same spot, same opponent, same spot on the pitch. I mean, same players.
It was a booking. It wasn't. There was nothing more in it. It was a booking, and he's got to go. It was. What's disappointing is that Udogie's been booked a couple of times. I think early on against Arsenal, early on in another game, maybe it was Liverpool.
Yeah, and been praised for how he's reacted.
Exactly, he's really kept his head and put in a really mature performance. This was so out of character with what we've seen generally from Spurs. They just there was, I don't know if it was the atmosphere. I don't know, but they just couldn't rein it in. It was weird to watch a little bit.
We don't need to analyse the second half, really, because what happened. What I do want to talk about is this
Highline.
This highlight. At the time, I was livid's the wrong word. I was like, "What are we doing?" Because Chelsea. I know Bentancur missed a chance and Dier had the volley disallowed. Really, they could have had 5 or 6.
Son had a good chance.
Son had a good chance. They could have had 5 or 6 by then. The number of times they got in. And Ange just said, if we're down to 5, we'll still play like this. Well, if we're down to 5, the game's banned. I take his point. I'm now like, maybe you get more success in life/football if you just do the things you believe in. But then it also comes back to, you should really have a plan B. Where are you on this line?
I will die on this line, and I think it's correct, because that is the way that we're going to play. We very nearly could have got out of this with a point.
But at the same time, they could have scored 5.
Yeah, they could have done.
So why are you saying very nearly could have got out with a point? We were schmeiced in the end.
Fine, but we were down. But hang on, we were down to 9 men.
But Liverpool did it differently.
Yeah, but that's a different team. I don't care if we're gonna. At the end of the day, this is a team that last season did play deep and had one of the worst defensive records in the league. So playing deep ain't doing us many favours anyway, right? So, and if you haven't been coached to play deep and then suddenly you're being asked to do something that is against what you have been coached to do, then it's going to go wrong, okay? Yes, they could have had 5, but actually I appreciated that we were going to say, do you know what? We're either going to lose 4-1 or we might win 2-1 or we might draw or whatever. And also, you mentioned Son's chance. Dier's another hairbreadth offside with a fantastic finish, but Bentancur's chance at 2-1, he has got to score that. And I'm not having a go at Bentancur, it's just one of them things, but it's not as though we did not create the chances to come away from this, even with this high line, and get a result. And Chelsea, by the way, I thought were dreadful.
So what I'd say about it is, I think it's completely insane. Just looking at this still image, for anyone that can see it, is just the chance that's been going around on Twitter when basically the entire team are on the halfway line. You can't play. You get taught this at such a young age playing football, is that you can't, if there's no pressure on the ball, you've got to drop off. And with 9 players on the pitch, it's impossible to keep pressure on the ball the whole time. And what was the only reason it worked was because Chelsea are actually
awful,
terrible. And like the idea that they couldn't pick this pass, get in behind and then finish off a chance was just crazy. I would say at the same time, I think you're right, Gary, it did nearly work, and so that renders everything I say about it completely wrong and Postecoglou correct. And also those chances that you mentioned wouldn't have come if we were really deep, because if you go really deep, you are saying 1-1 is the best we can hope for. What he's saying is, I want to still try and get the. So if you look at where we won the ball before those chances, we are higher up the pitch than we ever would have been, and the amount of the distance that Son would have had to run on his own if we'd been starting on the edge of our own box. But I do think like a better team than Chelsea, even just the team that are more used to playing together than Chelsea, would have scored far more. But I think
it's very hopefully unusual to be down to 9 men. Okay, so
Romero's banned for 3 games, so it won't happen for a few weeks.
But it's very unusual to be down to 9 men. Okay, and going into the second half, I was dreading that second half because I thought that we were going to get absolutely pumped, and there was no way and that was even with 10 men, and that was even with 10 men, and I just couldn't see how we were going to come out of that game. And I think if we'd have sat in deep, we would have lost anyway, and we'd all be sat here going, "Boo." I'm sat here, we've lost 4-1, right? I'm sat here going, I actually can put the result, I can compartmentalise it, and I can put the result to one side, okay? We've lost 4-1. We could have come away from that with a draw, which would have been a phenomenal result in the circumstances. I thought the performance was generally pretty good. I'm more upset about the collateral damage that goes with it.
I agree completely. I think it's funny to come away from a 4-1 defeat and feel fairly positive.
I wasn't upset.
Nor was I.
I was upset,
but it is the collateral damage.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst thing. But like, there are plenty of positives.
Yeah, I mean,
from like the players who came in doing well. Dier, Royale, Bentancur,
Hoiberg came on.
Hoiberg was really good.
Very well.
There were positives to come from it.
Yeah,
maybe we'll start with 9 on Saturday.
Sensation last night.
I will come to him in a second. There's one thing I do actually want to put that image of the High Line up again. We haven't got the technology here for me to draw on this like Monday Night Football. One thing sticks out for me like a sore thumb on this image. Can you guess what it might be?
Eric Dier dropping a little bit. He's
Eric
nervous.
Dier.
He plays nervously.
And this is what we've got now for the next X number of weeks.
Well, that's the other thing.
He knows.
If you play a high line and you can't put pressure on the ball, the last thing you need is pace to make up for those things. So when we've got Van de Ven and you don't have pressure on the ball and the team plays over the top, you know it's going to be
I feel like
right.
I might cry.
But Dier is, I don't know how fast Ashley Phillips is, but maybe...
Well, there's talk that he's behind, is it Alfie Dorrington?
Don't know.
In the pecking order?
Oh, bloody hell.
I can't even think what the team's going to be on the weekend.
Yeah.
We will come to it. This bloke. Not Cucurella.
What a hero.
Wow.
Absolute
the save in the first half when all things were...
Yeah.
When things were normal, but it just started to get a bit... That was just after we scored, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Was incredible. Look at that reach and his athleticism.
By the way, he is now my five-a-side keeper. Gomez
He's number 13, like Ali Tweeder.
Yeah.
And he is my five-a-side keeper.
Oh, you've dropped?
Yeah. Gomez. I'm sorry. I love Radio Gomez, but I can't. I mean, this guy's just too good.
He's brilliant. What a signing. Just a really, really... kept us in the game and also showed... way more ability to sweep up than he'd had to.
I had him down as next red card when we went down.
He
could have a couple
there
of
was
times.
A guy behind me in the stands that as he flew into one of the challenges, he just went, "Don't get sent off!" And I just thought for a moment, can you imagine? We'd used all our subs.
Oh, here's a question: who goes in goal?
Yeah,
we
I was
talked
wondering
about
that.
Dier or Romero for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Romero is long gone.
Sorry, Royale. Sorry.
Yeah, Royale for me. Yeah.
Two very different styles of keepers. Dier goes in goal and he's sort of working out his angles and Emerson goes in goal and he's Higuita. He's taking free kicks.
Yeah,
we get a penalty.
Scorpion.
He's doing the Scorpion.
I reckon he could do the Scorpion, by the way.
Yeah, he's definitely got that in his locker.
Dier definitely could not.
Right, so we lost.
Yeah.
And as you say, it's the collateral for me that is... I've gone into every single game predicting wins and things I don't normally do, but always with this trepidation of when are we going to get our Tottenham back?
Or is it going to fall apart?
And it did last night. And I know people, I'm proud of how we played, and I get that. But going forward now, I look at the next few fixtures. Wolves, Villa, who will come to us and they will turn us round and they will run behind us. Difficult. And City, well, don't know. Just whatever.
We've got Romero and Van de Ven out for the next 3 games.
And we've talked for so long about the drop-off. If losing one of them...
Yeah, and we meant last time I was on, we were talking about the drop-off in the other position where the big drop-off was Maddison, because you probably replace him with Lo Celso, don't you?
I'm not having him.
You don't think so?
I play with 10. No.
But who... So what,
dreadful.
would you play... Would you just play another number 8? You just play Bentancur and Sarr?
I think so. You could move Kulusevski centrally. I don't think his ball retention is good enough.
I don't think he'd do that.
Lo Celso doesn't seem... Was he even on the bench last night?
Yeah, he was. And didn't come on, yeah. No, I agree. I don't want that to happen. But
Lo Celso away to Wolves is just like PTSD.
I think Maddison will be fit. I hope Maddison will be fit. But I couldn't tell you what that team is going to look like. I can't even begin to imagine what that team is going to look like. Dier will play, and then it's a question of, does he do something like Højbjerg at centre-back, or does he promote, Dorrington or Phillips?
I don't think he does.
And then there's the issue of at left back, is Ben Davies going to be fit? If
No,
Ben
he's
Davies
not.
isn't,
I think he's not.
So if he's not going to be fit, there's no danger of him coming into the centre back, because Royale's going to have to play left back, so Royale can't play centre back. I just can't think what the hell that team is going to look like.
You remember about 2 minutes ago where I said I'm going to cry? It might actually happen. Okay, should we talk to a Wolves fan? Yeah. Let's do that right now. Delighted to be joined by Ryan Lester from the Wolves Report podcast. Ryan, thanks so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So we'll jump straight into the weekend, really. A mixed bag start to the season, but looking at some of Wolves' results, very, very impressive. But how have you seen the start to the season?
It's probably gone a little bit better than expected. There was a lot of pressure on Gary O'Neill. There was probably a few people guilty of some football snobbery with his appointment, because I guess some fans would see if someone's not good enough for Bournemouth, then they're not good enough for Wolves. But what he did with last year's Bournemouth squad to keep them up on I'd say what is probably a more limited squad than what Wolves have got now, it was a fantastic achievement. And in terms of where Wolves are financially, he's the right kind of manager to get the best out of the players he's got in a squad that's probably an improvement that he had last season. So I'm reasonably happy. Obviously, it was a bump in the road at Sheffield United, but fantastic performances. First half performances against the likes of Liverpool and Brighton, and a fantastic win against Manchester City. So overall, I'm very happy with Gary O'Neill.
And speaking of Gary O'Neill, he's a manager that I rate really very highly. I thought he was fantastic at Bournemouth last season. I thought it was a terrible mistake from them to move him on, and that's Wolves' gain, particularly after a good stint under Lopetegui. But what are the expectations for Wolves at the beginning of the season, and have they now been raised given how well you are actually doing?
I think at the start of the season, with the disruption with Lopetegui departing, I think most fans would have said, if you give us 17th just to retain our Premier League status, they would have absolutely taken that. But having beaten Manchester City, having run Liverpool close first half and Brighton close first half, you can see this. He's getting his methods over now. You can see, you guys probably saw him on Monday Night Football, and what an impressive tactical man he is. Hopefully didn't give away too much when he played you guys on Saturday. But expectations have been raised. But even though I would take a comfortable survival and a cup run, because we all want to see our teams win a cup. I know you guys do as well. We've not won anything since
win a what?
1980,
we don't win any cups.
We've been waiting. Yeah, I was 6 months old when Wolves last won a trophy, and I've been to Wembley once in my life. So I think you've had it better than us.
Yeah, this is what most fans actually don't understand about Tottenham. We have had it good, but because we haven't won a pot, people think that's a reason to take the piss a little bit, but it's not. We've been there or thereabouts.
I also much preferred Ryan's pronunciation of Lopetegui than yours.
Yeah,
Your Spanish is normally pretty good.
Yeah, muy bien.
Hi Ryan, I was just going to ask more specifically about this weekend, and because your recent results, the Pedro Neto has been so crucial to so many of those results, and generally speaking, is it right that saying Wolves have been better when there's been space to counter-attack into, and so the likes of Man City, Brighton, Liverpool you've mentioned, players like Pedro Neto can make a difference in those kind of games. That all points towards Wolves being a real threat against Spurs this weekend, but how much difference will it make without Pedro Neto? How much worse will they be?
Well, if we looked at the Sheffield United game and the shock defeat there for Wolves, it was not. I'm sure that Pedro's absence wasn't the full reason for that loss, but Pedro Neto will be a loss. Before that game, 7 assists, joint assister in the Premier League this season, which is for a team that's probably not got the talent that the top 6, 7 have. That's an incredible stat. He took Ake to the cleaners. He did the same to Villa. I think it's Pau Torres, the centre back there. He did the same to him. He's done some amazing stuff for Wolves this season. He's been playing he's done his best work as an inverted forward as well. But going back to your original point in terms of counter-attacking, with or without Pedro Neto, Wolves look very good on the counter. And watching you guys last night, I can see you're terrifying going forward, but equally you will give Wolves opportunities. Hwang Hee-chan's in the form of his life. Cunilla's running with the ball. So there will be opportunities, and Jean-Louis Sabella-Gard will be back as well, who's got a bit of pace as well. So I'm really looking forward to Saturday.
I think Wolves have got under the radar a little bit for me. Looking at the table, 14th, but then you dive into the results and you think they've really not done that badly. But I think it's only one clean sheet this season. Is that a concern?
I think it's only a concern if you're losing all the games. But we before the result at Sheffield United, Wolves were unbeaten in 5. Took a good point against Aston Villa, but we were down to 10 men late on. Wolves were probably going to beat Newcastle if Neto hadn't gone off. Wolves, I would say, I mean, we've got some proper professional statisticians in there as well. I would say Wolves were probably the better side running in, and it looked like they were in the ascendancy. And without Neto going off, Wolves would have probably won that.
Yeah,
they beat Man City and probably deserved to beat Man City as well. As with the XG, I think Wolves were better than Man City that day. So I'm delighted. But going back to your point about the clean sheets, am I concerned? Not really. I can't really say anyone's taken Wolves to the cleaners since he's got his ways and his methods now, and the players seem to be buying into that. Wolves are a side that will concede chances, but it's the Premier League. Every side concedes chances. So I'd be concerned if Wolves weren't creating much at the other end of the pitch. But as they now look dangerous at the other end of the pitch, I'm not so concerned about the clean sheets.
Spurs haven't yet had a penalty this season. Wolves have given away a couple of dodgy ones. Are you going to give us one on Saturday?
I don't think Wolves have conceded any penalties this season. Wolves haven't had the run of the green this season.
Yeah.
It's fair to say. You can make your own minds up in terms of your opinions on that. But in football as well, you make your own luck. I think your manager was very dignified last night in terms of what he said and his approach. A very different approch to your mates down the road, which is a very interesting contrast in terms of looking at two teams and their managers. But I've got to be honest, I don't think Wolves have had a penalty. I can't remember the last time, so I'll reverse the question back to you. Are you going to give Wolves a penalty the weekend?
Yeah, Eric Dier's
more than likely.
Eric Dier's playing.
I think we're owed a few. I think we're owed maybe to balance the books, maybe 1 or 2 penalties. So
we're going to have
quite like one myself.
We're going to have the most makeshift defence, so you've got a very good chance of getting a couple of penalties.
You mentioned Hwang, Ryan. He doubled his Premier League tally for last season. It could be a battle of 2 Korean forwards on Saturday. Just before I get your prediction on the game, what has happened to Hwang this season? Is it the way you're playing, or is it just him? He's changed his game.
He looks physically ready. I know, if I remember correctly, comparing to South Koreans, that it took Sonny a little while to get going as well.
Yeah,
I think he paid quite a bit of money from Germany. He came over, didn't get firing straight away. Now Hwang's settled in. He looks physically ready. He's very, very physical. He's strong and he's direct. He's probably not as well. He's nowhere near as technically gifted as Sonny, but Hwang does all his best work in the box. He's very natural at getting in good positions, and Wolves are playing more positive football. They're creating more chances now, and that's feeding into what he's good at. He's very good at. I mean, the further he comes back, as we saw with the Newcastle penalty last week, the further he comes back, the less I want him anywhere near there. But in the opponent's box, you just got a knack of being in the right place at the right time. And as any forward will tell you, that's just an instinct you can't teach. You've either got that or you haven't. He got an assist on Saturday for Jean-Marie Spellegard, which scored a great goal curling to the far corner. So yeah, credit to Gary O'Neill, but credit to Hwang as well, including me. I'll give him a bit of criticism. I didn't really think he was going to cut it, but he's up there with the big boys in terms of his goals, and he's taken some really good finishes. So yeah, I'm delighted for Hwangy, but credit to him for being mentally strong, and credit to the manager for backing his man. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so on to Saturday. Prediction, please. Maybe it's changed on the injuries and suspensions. I don't know, but what are your thoughts?
Well, as you've only got 3 players to pick from left, I think Wolves have got a chance now. Going into the squad and looking at the players, it's still some decent players coming in. Obviously, you mentioned Eric Dier. It's not quite the same as the player that's going out. So I think there'll be goals. I think Spurs will give Wolves chances. I think you're more vulnerably defensively now. So I'm going to say 2-2. I would like to. I know it's sitting on the fence a little bit. I've seen those opportunities last night. The way you play your high line it has me salivating at the thought of the opportunities that we're going to create. It's just about taking them. However, at the other end of the pitch, that first 20 minutes, Spurs were terrifying last night, and it was an incredible watch. Obviously, you guys are probably a bit sore from it, but the opening 20 minutes was terrifying. And the group chat with the lads were like, "Yeah, really looking forward to Saturday."
All right, Ryan, great to get your thoughts. I will wish you good luck for Saturday. I don't really mean it, but good luck. I think, as you say, it'll be an open game. It's always a decent game at Molineux. So good luck, and thanks for joining us.
Cheers, Ryan.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thank God Neto's out, eh?
When I said to Ryan, Wolves have sort of gone under the radar a little bit, and it's my job to be keeping up with the Premier League and what's going on. And Wolves I've kind of just ignored this season. They're 14th in the league, like we said, and he said they've beaten City, they've drawn with Newcastle, they've played. Their results aren't bad. That is a trickier proposition than I thought it was going to be.
I mean, if we had a fully fit team,
Yeah.
then I would be backing us to go up there, and I wouldn't say win comfortably, because I'm never arrogant enough to think that we should beat any team comfortably, and they are a good team, and I really do like Gary O'Neill as a manager, and he will set them up right against us. But I couldn't even tell you. I mean, have we got 11 players we can put on the pitch? I don't know. Like, I couldn't even begin to tell you who is going to. I know Ryan Sessegnon ain't going to be there. That's another one. He could have come in at left back. Nope. I mean, the team is going to be the most makeshift thing I've seen. With that said, midfield and up front should be fairly settled.
Without
and
Maddison doesn't.
If we can, I think Maddison will play. We've got 2 weeks till Villa, and I think they're just going to have to roll him out there. If we can dominate the ball and control them, then we've got a very good chance of winning the game. But
they're very, very good when they've got space to run into, and they play. That's why they beat teams like City, because City dominate the pitch, and then Wolves have the space to run into. and as Ryan said, there's a lot of space that Wolves fans will be licking their lips about behind Tottenham's high line. And so, I mean,
I reckon Eric Dyer's already in a cold sweat. he's dreading it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think one thing on Tottenham's side these days is that we have a system, and it's not about individuals as much anymore. So taking out Harry Kane and putting the system in place has made us a collective.
Yeah, you could see that last night.
Yeah, exactly. And the players that came in last night, I don't think anyone played badly, to be honest.
No.
And so I do think that there's some positivity there in that, like, you just have to copy what someone else was doing, kind of thing. You have to. The system should be good enough that lesser individuals are less exposed. There's less of a problem there, but it is still a problem.
And for all of Postecoglou saying, if we had 5 men, we'd still play the same way, I do think he's not naive. He is a good tactician. He has shown that with substitutions that is made in-game through reading a game. So he's not going to... I think he will have or be formulating a plan in his mind today as to how to set about this game. So I'm going to go in with a bit of positivity and optimism. And whatever happens, none of this should be a reflection on where the direction of this team is going.
100%. One thing he won't do is make excuses either.
No, not like somebody else.
Who?
That was
I
disgusting.
think it'll be interesting what he does with the team, because you could argue that Royale has played at left back, so he'll be fine there.
We haven't got anyone. You could play Højbjerg centre half.
Play Højbjerg.
By the way, I thought Porro was superb last night.
Yeah, he was really
moved
good.
Away from last night, but
he was really good. But you could also think, well, Royale did well at centre back last night, so put a central midfielder at full back, maybe put Porro on the left and put a central midfielder at right back, because we play these inverted full backs who go into central midfield all the time.
It's a good thought.
Arteta's done with Thomas Partey is put him at...
Who would that be? Sarr,
I was thinking, yeah.
And then get Bentancur in the team.
Yeah.
Don't mind that. I like that.
Could do that. But, I mean, you could also argue that... How old's Sarr? Is he still 19? Out of position against the good Wolves side, yeah.
Who knows? Be a test of Ange, for sure.
What's annoying is, for the second time in a row, Spurs have got back-to-back games in the Premier League. We played Monday night, then Friday night. Now we're playing Monday night, then the early kickoff.
That's what happens when you're not in Europe.
Well, yeah, but we've got the least possible time for him to work, for everyone to recover and him to work this out.
No, because we had the longest time.
Yeah, we had the longest time.
Before this game, but fat lot of good that did us. And now we've got the shortest possible time to recover and get ready for this new team to play against Wolves. Yes.
One thing I want to end with is the doughnut. I'm not sure Ali is aware of the doughnut search.
I am, but I need reminding.
Just as we started doing the pod way back in March, May, I don't know when we started, I'd seen this Lotus Biscoff donut
Yes.
on Footy Scran on Twitter. I was like, oh my God, I need that donut. Couldn't find it. So there's been a search for this donut. This is what the donut looked. Oh, no. That's what the donut looked like originally when I first was made aware of it. It looks good, right?
Yeah.
And a few people have told me they've seen it, and I'd not seen any evidence. And a listener last night, Ange Leahy, sent a message saying he'd found it. That looks like a knockoff to me.
Not unbranded.
Someone is running a dodgy trade of. Where's the Lotus biscuit?
Yeah.
What is? I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm having that down as a fake.
What's happened there is they've done away with the Lotus biscuit, and it's still the same price, and it is Levy penny pinching because we know that, no, that's not what happened at all. That looks like a phenomenal donut.
That's a phenomenal donut.
Mm.
Is that a phenomenal donut?
You can't do this podcast at lunchtime and give us these photos.
There is a bakery next door,
Yes.
so pile straight in.
Off we go then.
Yeah, fine. Off we go. Prediction for Saturday's game.
I don't want
please.
to.
You're going to have to, but I'm going to ask Ali first.
I think it's going to be 1-1. Yeah, but then I heard Ryan's 2-2 prediction, and I thought, yeah, maybe we could do that. Could be, yeah.
I don't know how you can predict this game because
You're going, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah. I don't know how you can predict this game. It's impossible. You can't even predict what the lineup's going to be. So I don't know. I'm just going to throw out in sheer blind optimism that we will win 3-1.
Okay. I think we're going to lose 2-1.
Great.
Sorry, everybody. I'm there now.
So what do you think we'll get from these next three? No Romero. How many points?
I'll
Zero.
say this,
Are you
though.
thinking
I'll
zero
say
then?
this.
Because this is the most.
I'll
You
be a
do
little-
think zero?
Hang on.
Go on.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'm back in that mode now.
Wow.
Where I'm going to go 1.
Villa.
Possibly from. I know I've predicted Wolves to win. Possibly from Wolves or Villa.
Right.
I think we'll be all right. But if I was to choose a game for Van der Ven and Romero to miss, it would be a write-off game away to City. I mean, that might sound a bit defeatist, but if we had gone up there with Romero and Van der Ven and so on, then you'd be really excited about that game. But would probably still lose, right? So sort of just write it off, and it's not a bad one for them to both miss. So that is one small glimmer of silver lining, perhaps.
I'm trying to find something on you.
Perhaps, but no, I think we've got more than enough to beat Wolves, and I think we've got more than enough to get a result against Villa as well.
This is what I'm saying. I still don't know what we are. Ange is going to have to react now for the first time. It's not just on the back of a first defeat. It's on the back of the collateral that's come from it.
Yeah,
I think 4 points from those 3 games is reasonable.
take it.
Oh, take that.
No, of course. No, I'm not saying I would take it. I'm saying that I think we could manage that.
All right, we shall see. Gentlemen, thank you. Ali, number 13. Forever
Cheers.
now. Forever now, number 13, even if you're not.
Perfect.
Gary, thank you. Enjoy the game on Saturday.
Thank you.
And we will be back next week. And up the Spurs.